Delighted to welcome our next guest, the independent peer and a former Labour MP, Baroness Kate Hoey. Kate, a very good morning to you.
Good morning, Jeremy.
Wow, what a day, and what a chance to get your take on it. It's interesting to get everybody's take. We started this day with Starmer sort of holed up in Downing Street. We ended up with the unedifying picture of Wes Streeting tearfully saying, "These are my messages to Mandelson with kisses on," and everything that went in between. Accusations. I mean, my favourite line, Kate, I have to say, is the Daily Telegraph this morning that says that they realised that Streeting was on manoeuvres. As Starmer clings on after briefing war, insiders say, "We know who's behind this, and his name rhymes with Les Wheating." It's on the front of the Telegraph, for God's sake.
Yeah. Well, I mean, I think what comes out of this, and I kind of knew this as yesterday morning, that they would all rally round, because Labour actually find it very difficult to get rid of leaders. I mean, even when the Parliamentary Labour Party had given out no confidence in Jeremy Corbyn, he still carried on for a long time afterwards. The loyalty issue is actually, I think, probably stronger even in the Labour Party than it is in the Conservatives when it comes to ditching someone. I think also, I mean, the very obvious thing, and I think I'm sure you said it as well, why would anyone actually want to take over just at this moment? I think the reality is that we're going to have the by-election, which probably, well, definitely, I think Labour will lose. It's a question of who wins, and I think that's quite likely to be Reform. And then we've got the May elections. And so the party is going to be in a huge disruption, and the members out there are going to be very angry. And that's when, between now and then, I think there will be a lot of, as we've seen, speculation, a lot of manoeuvring. And we will probably find towards May that there becomes a kind of two candidates who are really going to be the ones that the party will choose from. None of them, I think, are particularly exciting in terms of what the country will want.
It's fascinating to get your take. I mean, interestingly, that last call, I mean, you made the joke about the table, if you were listening, because we were talking about let's have some intimacy with the listeners. I mean, you just look at it, and all I can go back to is the current Prime Minister arrived in Downing Street and said the grown-ups are back in the room. We're fed up with this backstabbing, childish political squabbling that's gone under the Tories. And in 18 months, I mean, they really have got themselves in a position, I don't say this lightly, as bad, if not worse, than the Tories. Is he, lots of questions for you, is he a dead man walking, Kate?
Oh, yes, definitely. I mean, he will not, and I heard one Labour MP, I think it was the Secretary of State for the Environment, saying last night that he would be leading Labour into the next general election. I think that is absolutely for the birds. I mean, there's no way he can stay on that long, because we've seen how many mistakes, in inverted commas, he's made over the last 6 months. So, the chances of him even being able to survive after May, I think, are completely gone. But I do think that the public, this isn't doing Labour any good anyway, even if he did survive, because the public must be pretty fed up with, I know we're all interested in it and the media is interested in it, but the reality is that out there, people they don't know who some of these people are. Obviously, they've heard of Mandelson, but they don't know some of the people that have been mentioned and have left Downing Street. And while a lot of people will be interested, the vast majority of people are just getting on with their lives, and so it doesn't help Labour in terms of the next election or their opinion poll. It'll be really interesting to see the next opinion poll. I would imagine Labour will be down even further than we could possibly have thought 6 months ago.
I think it goes beyond that, and I completely agree with you. And I only want to say that if it is down to 15%, who the hell are the 15%? But here's my point about yesterday. The Cabinet were mightily silent for 24 hours. Then they all fell into line within minutes. It was obviously coordinated. I don't know whether he threatened a general election and said you can all lose your damn jobs. But my producer, Christian, made this point earlier, and I keep crediting him because I think he's spot on. So you've got a Prime Minister who got rid of his chief of staff and his comms chief to try and save his own neck. But the argument yesterday morning was, but you made the decision to give your mate, or the Labour Party's mate, whose best mates were the world's most notorious paedophile, the job of US ambassador. You've now got 24 cabinet ministers who are endorsing a prime minister and are thus as culpable as he has. Because if any of them had any backbone about those victims, about those young girls, surely they would have fallen on their sword yesterday afternoon. I think that's a very relevant point.
Yes, I think that is relevant, and it does show that most politicians in the end put their own personal career prospects and before the country. I mean, I think that's the problem with most political parties. Sometimes their own party image and what's going on is more important than what's actually good for the country. I think that if one or two had gone yesterday and stood out on principle, then this could have spiraled very quickly. But because there isn't that agreement yet, even an agreement amongst a number of the cabinet ministers together about who might. I mean, I'm sure they're discussing it. I'm sure they're talking behind the scenes now, because they all know that Keir Starmer is not going to be there very long, much longer. But they haven't got that agreement. And I think there might be one or two dark horses, as they say, coming out of, no one's mentioned Hilary Benn. Hilary Benn is a very experienced member of the cabinet. He's not been in the public profile because he's Secretary of State for Northern Ireland, which he's over there a lot and doing a lot of things in Northern Ireland. He could just come out of the woodwork at the end as someone who might see, members might see as someone who's a bit of stability.
What about me throwing somebody else in along those lines? And I agree with you, actually, Kate. What about John Healey? Safe pair of hands, Defence Secretary?
I mean, I must admit that John Healey would be someone who I would have a lot of confidence and faith in. I'm not a member of the Labour Party. I don't support the Labour Party at all now. But John Healey is someone who is a very decent, sincere, hard-working member of the cabinet who isn't, and in a very important job, of course, defence, and who isn't, throwing his toys out, isn't making, isn't trying to be in the headlines, which I'm afraid some of the cabinet like to be.
Listen, great to have you on. It's just a story that continues to unfold, and we're delighted to get your take on it. Thank you so much indeed. Baroness Kate Hoey, independent peer and former Labour MP, giving her thoughts on the turmoil that is the Labour government right now.